146,000 in the red, so we're holding very, very well.
That's good.
The cafeteria report, if we would receive our receipts, our revenues in real time, like for the reimbursements for February, had we ended February with this, we'd be down about 110,000, which is what I predicted to put in a transfer of funds.
Yep.
So hopefully we're going to hang steady with that then as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
Other than that, that's all I have.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept?
Albert?
Do I have a second?
Dick?
Albert and Dick, any questions, discussion? Okay, can I have a vote?
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Mr. Dick?
Yes.
Mr. Levin?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Penzarski?
I have piles tonight, so sit back. I have a little bit to go through. Let's start with some positive. We were awarded a $150,000 grant on Friday with a cohort of other districts across the state to do what's called a remote DX industry recognized credential grant. And that's for pre-apprentice and apprenticeship programs at the high school
Awesome.
level, which will be great for our kids to actually to be able to learn jobs within our school district that again builds our community and builds our clientele long-term fulfilling jobs. So it's a great opportunity for our district, and we're super excited to have received that grant. The next bit of news, if we could talk calendar just for a minute. I sent this out to the board, but just to let everyone know, when we do calendars, we always give two options, and those options are created by different leadership members, whether it's teachers or principals or myself, and our DLT then helps guide which two calendars we're going to put out to a vote, and then from that vote, the board then will adopt the calendar for the next school year. And so we put the calendars out to a vote, and we had 146 responses. And if we just look at everyone that responded, 67% wanted to do calendar B. And if you remember from last meeting, calendar B is having the fair week off. And then we break that down by subgroup, just to make sure what the different subgroups think. So our teachers, 60% wanted calendar B. Our classified staff was 77% wanted calendar B. And our administrative contract, that would encompass everyone up here. It encompasses our directors, our principals. It was 83% for calendar B. So, Ms. Stryker, what I would recommend is, unless the board has concerns about the staff recommendation, that we go with calendar B as our calendar. So under 11F in your agenda, there's a blank space. What I would recommend is going ahead and putting B there as the option number.
Okay.
And then when we take the vote tonight, we would go ahead and vote for calendar B. Do you have any questions about the calendar or the process or those things? The next thing that's just a reminder is that we will have a remote learning day on Friday, March 26th. We have over 200, well, I should say we have 200 people, not over, 200 people being vaccinated. And so they'll receive their second dose that day, and it is a confirmed day. So we're guaranteed the doses, not like the first
Good.
time in February. And kudos to our clinic. They were able to do all of our staff in the evening. They stayed evening hours the entire week so that we didn't have to schedule another remote learning day.
Good.
The problem with the second vaccine, and you've probably seen it in the news, or at least I saw it, where some school districts had done that in the middle of the week, and then because of your immune system is building, antibodies towards that virus. So there can be some reaction with the second one. So we really wanted to be intentional and do it on a Friday so that we would have enough subs and everybody would be recovered and to do work on Monday. So That's coming up. And then the big news. This is super exciting.
Dun, dun, dun.
Super scary, super exciting, but so excited for the opportunity for our school district and our community. So if you remember, in 2017, December, the Board of Education passed a resolution to move forward with segment 2 of our school facilities project. And so even though the board agreed and said we're ready for segment 2, the OFCC, or the Ohio Facility Construction Commission, has to come up with their portion of the funds. And so that portion is roughly, I think it's 67%. So they weren't able to fund us, and they said it will be 4 to 6 years. And it wasn't anything that anybody could change or do. It was just the reality of the situation that we were in. And every year around January, because that's when one of their meetings are, we have a conversation and say, where are we in the process? How does this work? So ironically, in December of 2020, they said it would be an additional probably 2 years before we would get funded, just because of COVID, the increase in construction cost, all of those things.
Right.
Jill and I were literally sitting in my office having a meeting about doing some repairs on our facilities and things that had to be, we were looking at a 10-year window to say, should this work be done or should it not be done? And we got the phone call that said we could be funded as early as July 2021 to build a new building. Now, there's a lot that has to happen before that's a concrete guarantee.
Right.
So the next couple of months, those things will be finalized. They have to update what's called our master plan. They have to figure out what are the new costs for construction, what are those pieces. The percentage that OFCC funds is guaranteed. If for some reason the costs come in really high, which is very likely just given the current state, they might push us out till July of 2022. And that's fine. We can wait for them to come up with their piece at that time. But they said by July of 2022, without any major changes, we should get our funding, which is significantly earlier than we had planned.
Right.
So what does that mean? That means just, I'll give you updates as I get them. It means that people who are interested in serving on what would be a bond committee, because we'll have to raise our percentage and those kinds of things, although we're not in that place yet. We need to start having conversations. We need to start talking about what this would mean. But I would say by end of June, and if you remember, was that about what he said, June, July-ish, we will be confirmed on whether or not we'll move forward with the master plan. Now, what happens if they come back and they say it's going to be super expensive based on everything and we can't fund you? It's okay. We don't have to accept right away. We can say no. We're going to wait till the next round, which would hopefully be the next July of 2022. So in a nutshell, very exciting news. If you're interested in being part of the process to start having conversations, I would say let the district office know or contact your favorite principal, let them know, and so we can get kind of a group of people together to start having conversations. We won't know a lot, I just want to be clear, until June about whether or not the master plan is agreeable. And so just know that going into it. And things can go wrong, and it's okay, but super exciting to get that phone call. So very excited for Kenton City Schools and this community, but it looks like that 2-year window got shrunk to 6 months.
Woohoo!
If everything goes well. Any questions from the board about the project in general?
Yep.
Okay. That's all my piles.
Okay. Exciting stuff. Okay, Lenny, let's move on to board committee reports. Finance committee.
Okay, I have a few things to go over here. So I think the first piece that I've got is in our finance meeting we had discussed looking at going with a company called Meta Solutions to basically review our utility bills and assist us with utility auditing and things of that sort. basically Meta Solutions would be like a consortium to go into for getting, looking at getting more competitive bids at the lowest responsible cost. So it would be like an electrical consortium that we're looking at possibly getting into. And so unless,
Let me just add a little bit to that. There are over 150 schools that are involved with this consortium. This consortium has been in effect for over 20 years. I was involved with this consortium at my previous district. There are many big districts around the Columbus area that are involved with this, and literally there have been over millions of dollars saved just by using this consortium, because they can come in with a better competitive RFP,
Right.
and they get better savings. So I think it would behoove us to vote on this document tonight. Now, we're involved with another competitor at this point, and we've looked at those costs. Those costs are higher than what Meta is getting right now with their clients. So that contract would not be up until June of 2023. So we got a couple years yet. But this will put us in good position, then once we're done with that, we can go with the Meta Consortium.
Okay.
okay, thanks, Jill. The other piece that I just wanted to cover real quickly was, I know we had discussed also in receiving more money, or money through the CARES Act and the ESSER 2 funds, and I think that that's looking at going toward probably getting 3 buses and a special needs bus. And then the other piece that we had discussed also was about Medicaid reimbursement, and just basically making sure that whatever is eligible for that reimbursement is being logged and tracked. And I know there was a part to that where we had talked about just making sure that like the special needs routes were being logged and tracked so they get the reimbursement as well.
Correct.
Right.
And our special ed director, she is helping coordinate that with our bus drivers, our bus driver director, and the aides on those buses. So there will be a meeting with that, so they can start logging for next year. And what that means is we get some increased revenues based on Medicaid reimbursements.
That's all I had on that report. Sheena.
Okay. Any questions for Brandon? Okay. Extracurricular.
Yeah, the extracurricular, they met last Thursday. All the winter sports award things are complete. Baseball and softball started their scrimmages this week. We get into a little repair on the softball field to get a little bit more dirt. Powerlifting meets are started up next 2 weekends here. We don't know what the guidance is for spring events yet. I was just waiting on, I guess, Ohio High School Athletics Association is waiting on the Ohio Department of Health. The current regulation is 30%. If you guys pay attention to number 1, he said he expects full capacity July 4th at Indian Stadium. So hopefully that's good news.
Yeah.
Locker rooms at the field house have been updated. Of course, as always, you can follow along on Twitter and see all those pictures there, but that's all we have there.
Okay. Any questions for Sam? No? Okay, I have Career Center. Deb Purcell sends me updates. She serves on that board for us. So I will go through this really quick. All the staff members who wanted to have their first vaccinations on February 24th, and their second is scheduled for Wednesday, the 17th. Due to the construction, High Point's convocation scheduled for May 26th will be held at Bell Fountain High School on the football field, weather permitting. They did hire a new ag teacher for Kenton. Her name is Julie, and I'm sorry, but I don't have the last name on here. I apologize for that. Ohio High Point adopted a new resolution of hiring substitute teachers without bachelor's degrees because we have such a hard time finding substitute teachers. They've done that. So that's everything for the Career Center. Any questions? Okay, Policy Committee.
President Sheena, that's me. I'm actually going to be referring to item 11G, approve the following guideline and form. It's diploma seals. We've got a form that we've developed. The state of Ohio is actually, it's fulfilling requirements to earn a diploma. You can earn a couple seals.
Okay.
For graduation purposes.
Mhm.
I think we've got 3 different seals, if I remember correctly. One of them is the community service seal. The student must complete 20 hours of community service within 1 year. And this all has to be done while you're attending high school.
Okay.
So they can get a seal for that to help them with graduation requirements. Also, there's a fine art seal. That really means that they need to have a 2-year membership to, band, choir, top 20, A company, musical, art, anything like that will be involved with that one. And then there's actually a student engagement seal. And what that is participation in 2 seasons of sports or 2 semesters of a school-approved organization or a club.
Okay.
Really gives the opportunity for kids to make sure they're filling those requirements for getting their diploma. Kind of almost another pathway, an additional pathway besides the traditional, get all your classes, get all your hours in. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Okay. Wonderful.
And I think that was it.
Okay. Any questions for Doug? Nope. Okay. No old business. So moving on to new business. We have several personnel items. We have some resignations, substitute teachers hiring. Let's see. We have 2 retirements and the hiring of a new science teacher at the high school. So do I have a motion to accept? Albert?
Carmine, a second.
Carmine for second. Any questions, discussions?
Just remember that all of page 3, we do that every year.
Right.
So any supplemental contract is non-renewed, and then in the next month or 2, we'll hire back all of these positions. But every year we have to non-renew,
Right.
and then we rehire.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Sheena,
Okay.
just a note, Tyra Lawrence gave us 24 years. That is amazing.
That is
And then Boyd
amazing.
Downey, 21 years.
Yes, that's amazing. We thank them for their service. They will be greatly missed. Anything else? Okay, can I have a vote, please?
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Mr. Dick?
Yes.
Mr. Ludley?
Yes.
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Okay. All right, 11, authorizations and resolutions. Let's see, and I want to point out 11F is voting on the school calendar, option B, which would give us Fair Week off. We have a motion to accept.
Ledley.
Ledley. We have a second.
Albert.
I heard Albert. Questions, comments? I think, is it gonna? Okay, can I have a vote?
Mr. Dick?
Yes.
Mr. Ludley?
Yes.
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Okay, if there's no further business to come before the board, we are adjourned. The next meeting will be April 19th at 7 o'clock here at Oakleaf. And I have 7:22 as the timeout.